I'm Cavish.
I'm Hannah Cha.
And we are here in Yunnan for what, Hannah?
To take a deep dive into tofu.
This is Tofu Town, where we are right now. And Yunnan is one of the tofu provinces of China.
Yes, I think Yunnan is home to some of the more particular and interesting tofu varieties that are a little less known in the West.
And you actually live here.
Yes, I've been in Yunnan for a couple years, researching plant-based cooking, researching regional tofu traditions, and kind of getting to the craft and the science of tofu.
All right, so we're ready to get nerdy, to see the factory stuff, to see the wells, to get into the calcium, magnesium, protein bonding, the gelling process, right?
Let's do it.
Let's get nerdy. Tofu is made just about everywhere in China, but Yunnan in the far southwest is one of the best. In this episode, we're gonna get deep about beans, water, and coagulation.
Tofu is a category. It encapsulates so many textures. You start from soy milk, you have varying levels of firmness, and then you also have different treatments of the tofu in different shapes, as you can clearly see. It involves like fermentation a lot of the times, and I just think that there's such a wealth of tofu in China that is like hasn't really been written about in English. And kind of like my motivation for being in China and living in Yunnan for the last 2 years has just been diving deep into as many kind of like hidden and like niche focuses as possible. I think in order to really understand tofu, you have to also understand where it comes from, like the literal soybean, and then the process from soy milk into all these products and varieties.
Shiraping is an old town on the old Yunnan trading routes, not far from Southeast Asia. It's famous across China for its tofu, so we came to see one of its old tofu factories, which has been turned into a tofu museum. So before we get deep into it, let's start at the beginning. Okay, Tofu 101.
Yes.
I have soybeans that have been soaked in water, and a mill, and some muscle power, right?
Generally, the beans are soaked overnight. It depends on the temperature. I think in the summer, it takes like 6 hours for them to rehydrate. But in the winter, they probably soak these overnight. Oh, you can start to see the slurry.
Okay, so out of this, we're gonna put the beans and the water in here.
Yes.
Out of this, we're gonna get this tofu slurry, which is
It's essentially uncooked soy milk.
uncooked soy milk, and then we're gonna take that uncooked soy milk and break it somehow, either with a coagulant or with something sour, and that's gonna split the soy milk into the curds and the liquid.
Yes, but you have to cook the soy milk first,
Right.
or else the proteins won't be as readily available.
Right.
But then essentially once you cook the soy milk, it turns into essentially like a protein soup. And then the point of the coagulants is to destabilize the protein, and typically it's done with either a salt or an acid. Of the salts, the most common are magnesium chloride, yanlu, and shigao, which is also called gypsum, and chemically that's calcium sulfate.
But the most basic is first make soy milk,
Yes.
like this, then cook the soy milk, then split the soy milk, then take the curds and
out.
press them to some degree. And then from there you can dry them or fry them or grill them. And you can see it's not a small amount of work to make this. I'm already.
We have about a quarter cup in here.
Right, so that's gonna make like not any tofu, right? Like that's not even gonna do anything.
We have like a thumbnail's worth of
I think we can.
here.
Oh man,
Here, let me add it while you grind.
I was hoping it would be the other way.
I mean, imagine waking up every morning, like 1 or 2 a.m. to start this process. We gotta have the tofu done by like 7 or 8 when people start coming to buy it. But
This is what machines were
like,
invented for.
Exactly.
Some things are better done the old way, but not if you have to do them.
I can see this being a nice like dinner party activity. Have all your guests grind the slurry,
Right.
and then you can
Dinner
make
party
the tofu.
starts at 1 p.m. So, tofu is 3 things: soybeans, water, and a coagulant. The beans in the water make soy milk, and the coagulant curdles that soy milk. What's so special about Sheping, and why it's so famous for tofu, is its water. So Hannah, we're here in Sheping. This is one of 5 wells in the city that have their special water. What's special about the water here in Sheping?
Yeah, the water in Sheping is particularly mineral rich, so it contains specifically magnesium chloride and calcium sulfate. And these are the 2 coagulants actually that industrially you would have to add to the coagulation process to allow the tofu to form curds, but it's just present in the natural water. I'm guessing that it might be a combination of, the karst formation and kind of the snow melt, and also the rock in this area, just underground where the water comes out. But it's kind of like that magical composition necessary to coagulate tofu without any additional minerals.
Right, so any other place, almost any other place in the world, you make the soy milk, you need to add something to split it into curds.
Exactly.
And here, you just add water. Mm-hmm. And that's right, that's the magic of Sheping, right?
Yeah, and it's pretty much just this town in all of China.
During our little museum lecture, we learned there are only 5 wells in all of Sheping. Yeah, that's the trick, right?
Oh, there.
Did you catch the fish?
Nope.
你含到嘴里，多一点，少了你咽下去。你喝了豆浆，
Gross.
漱一下口。
Yeah. Or if I were to taste this as drinking water, I would not be happy.
Oh yeah, it tastes totally metallic.
There's a bit of a
Bitterness in
bitterness,
it,
yeah.
and like a metallic taste that you taste in blood, like an iron,
An iron taste.
an irony taste.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me try some more.
Wow, you can tell there's something in this
Totally
water.
not like normal tap water.
You can taste the magic.
It does taste like blood.
Jianshui is about a 45-minute drive away from Sheping and is equally famous for tofu and a 700-year-old well that they still use to make tofu. So, Hannah, tofu, 3 things: soybeans, water, coagulant. And this is the most famous water for tofu in Yunnan, right?
Yes. Arguably, water's the most important ingredient out of those 3.
Right,
Well,
right.
so they say here.
Right, because like the human body, tofu is mostly water, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's different about the water here than other places?
The water here is mineral rich, so it has calcium, it has magnesium deposits, and it's also particularly clean because it comes from the snow melt from the surrounding mountains.
Right, right. And that's why there's fish in here, right? So that actually to prove that the water is very clean.
I think the locals say if there's fish, that means there are no chemicals.
Right.
It's a really healthy environment for them.
Unlike Sheping, where the wells are very limited, there are more than 100 public wells in Jianshui, including this one, which has been in use since the 1400s. And this water they call this well a sweet water well, right? 甜水晶.
Yes.
as opposed to the ones in Shiping, which are the sour water well. This doesn't split the soy milk, but you make the tofu with this water. And this is just open to the public, right? It's just like free. Everybody's here just filling up their bottles, or you can buy a bottle for like 50 cents to fill up your own.
They say it's really good water for cooking rice and making tea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right,
We can give it a taste.
All right,
we can
all right,
see if it
let's have
actually lives up. Okay. That's actually really good.
Yeah?
Compared to the one in Shiping where you can taste the minerals, this one is smooth and sweet.
Wow, I wish I had one of these in my backyard. It'll save me a lot of money.
It's very clean tasting.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really tasty water. This one's mine. Taking this one to dinner.
Oh yeah, just keep guzzling.
Yeah. So Hannah, we're in this tofu factory, early morning, nobody else is here yet. Let's talk about coagulants. What is this place doing that other places don't do? And how do regular places coagulate the soy milk?
Yeah, so in Jianshui and also in Yunnan and Guizhou, they use suanjiang, which is essentially the fermented whey from making tofu. And so in the whey, you have some soluble components like sugars, some protein, and then you also have some like residual protein that didn't coagulate from the last batch. So then it just creates this really prime liquid for helping to jumpstart the coagulation process for the soy milk. And the cool thing about this is that it's a renewable coagulant. So essentially you're just like reusing the whey from the previous night or several days before that's allowed to ferment. And inside of the whey, it's actually a lot of lactic acid bacteria.
So here's where it starts to get deep.
The difference, I think, with Yunnan tofu is that the acid coagulation relies on dropping the pH of the soy milk from about 6.8 to around like 5.2 to 5.5. And that is what's called the isoelectric point, where the proteins in the soy milk, which are usually negatively charged, once you drop that pH level, then they are neutralized. So then they start to clump together and they start to form this loose 3D structure, start to trap some water, and it forms this gel that's essentially what we call like tofu.
Right.
And then the cool thing about jianshui tofu is that because this acid is not really strong, it's not quite as strong as like, say, a vinegar or lemon juice. So the gelling process is actually a lot smoother and slower than if you were to, let's say, just like pour some lemon juice into soy milk. And so it allows the curds to just like form this really nice, tender, smooth texture. And then we'll see later as they're binding the tofu in the cloths, it kind of looks like cottage cheese.
Right. It's like this really soft, creamy curd, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is the same as if you made a ricotta at home, right? I mean, maybe a little bit less extreme, but you take the milk, in this case soy milk, and then you put an acid into it. At home, if you're making ricotta, you lemon juice or a little bit of vinegar, and that splits the milk, and that's going to coagulate the curds, and then you're going to separate the curds from the whey. Exactly. But they're using the leftover whey, ferment it, make it more acid. So they're not adding like gypsum, they're not adding nigari, which are the two other main coagulants, right?
Nigari is called yanlu.
Yanlu.
And it's essentially the kind of like byproduct from seawater.
Okay.
So when you take seawater, you're typically trying to extract the salts from it. And once all that salt is removed, what's left is essentially magnesium chloride, which is what we call yanlu. So it's technically also a natural substance, a natural ingredient.
But it's just highly concentrated in the processed seawater, right?
But then with magnesium chloride and then gypsum, which is calcium sulfate, these are both salts. And the way that salts coagulate the tofu is actually very different from the acid coagulation. And the way that salts work is that It's a similar thing where they kind of like neutralize the negative charges on the soybean protein. But then what they're doing is actually like creating the structure with the calcium and the magnesium to kind of like bridge the proteins together. And then the proteins themselves have what's called like a hydrophobic region, where once you kind of remove the water from them, they start to stick together. And then the longer they sit, the more they clump together, the more they form this like gel structure.
So they have a different gelling formation structure than the ones that are done this way with an acid coagulation, right?
And it's actually a combination here because the well water has these minerals.
Right.
Magnesium has calcium in it.
Naturally, the water from the well that's literally like 10 steps across the street from where we are now.
Yeah, so it's essentially you're taking like both of these components, like gel or acid coagulation as well as mineral salt coagulation, and it's just like the perfect composition for this kind of tender, really buttery texture for tofu.
Yeah, it is really, well, we're gonna eat it again and again and again and again. But it is, and we've already had some, we should say, it is really creamy and soft and buttery and custardy. We needed a break from all the nerd talk. So after watching the factory at work, we went upstairs to its all-you-can-eat tofu and soy milk buffet. Here, you want me to spoon you some tofu?
Sure. Oh look, they use the fruit. It even has chunks in it.
Bean on bean.
Tofu on tofu,
Yeah, it's almost all bean on bean, right? Here's docha.
Let's do some spicy.
Tofu breakfast. 2 types of tofu from the bowl, both soft. You made one sweet with the brown sugar syrup, right? Furu zhi, so fermented tofu juice, and then fermented fermented soybeans on top.
It's like bean and bean,
Bean
on
on bean, bean on bean on bean. 3 bean action.
With crispy bean, soft bean,
Crispy bean, fried baojiang tofu, fried stinky tofu, fried dried tofu that's puffed up like the chicharron, right? And the dipping sauce.
and dipping sauce.
All right, you first.
All right.
Whoa. So delicious.
The furu and then the chili sauce adds this sourness to it.
Yeah.
It like has a nice tanginess.
But the tofu itself is just like barely set. We're literally on the 2nd floor of the factory. Like they're making all the tofu. Everything that you guys have seen is just downstairs from here. Tofu nacho. So this is the skin from the soy milk that's been dried and then fried.
I'm gonna try the stinky one.
Okay.
It's so savory. All right.
Chicharron?
Crunchy chicharron.
It's vegetarian chicharron.
They know how to fry it so that the center is also fully popped.
It's almost exactly like a chicharron.
That's amazing.
So good. So good.
Okay, soy milk. This is where the sweetness comes from.
The milk is sweet.
The soybeans, or the soy milk itself, has a sweetness. I think soy milk actually, out of all of the plant-based milks, it has the most similar structure and content to cow's milk. So like protein and fat composition. It's pretty much like, I feel like all of these products are like the dairy products
Absolutely.
of the soybean.
Absolutely. Shiping is one of those old Yunnan towns that still has an incredible old-school farmers market every 10 days. People from all over the area pour into the old town's narrow lanes, selling all kinds of incredible produce. We scheduled our visit to hit the market, where we found a really interesting soy milk product neither of us expected.
It looked like pig skin.
That's what I was thinking at first. Somebody said it was the tofu.
Tofu skin.
Quite leathery.
It's really tasty.
I really like that actually. You can see
Really
the string.
tasty.
Oh.
Tofu jerky.
We're never getting out of here.
I feel like I'm trying to get off an airplane.
Later on our trip, we stopped at a fixed market in Jianshui to see the tofu stalls there.
So it's interesting how even among these two very close towns, they have such different styles of tofu,
Right.
just based on the water available to them.
So this is the Shiping tofu. 这个是碱水的是吧？ Oh, see, she's got more of the. 已经知道了. She's got more of the range, right? She's got the from the very fresh stuff here to the little dry cubes.
Oh, they have the sun-dried
The
ones.
sun-dried one here to fry.
And then the
to the-
sticks as
To
well.
the sticks to 豆米花. And then the little like the dry tongues. They look like duck tongues or like lamb, like a
They
sheep
do.
tongue. But then you fry these up and they puff. This is the one that's been aged for 6 days.
Aged 2 days.
Slab tofu from Shiping. This is the aged one. Ew. It's so slimy. Exploding juice one.
Sun-dried tofu.
So there's quite a big range here for Jianshui, from the small fresh stuff to all the dry stuff to the dry skins.
And they all seem to just like take pride in their one variety of tofu.
Yeah.
Like Shipping is like, this is our tofu.
Yeah, this is-
Jianshui's like, this is ours.
In this really small area, you just drive between the two is like 45 minutes.
We talked about the importance of the water in this region, and even how different it is from city to city. And we got deep into the coagulation process at the factory. But we saved our bean talk for our last dinner in Jianshui, which was, of course, the city's famous grilled tofu. Possible because of the special gelling process that makes the tofu more elastic and able to withstand high heat.
So Hannah, let's talk about soybean.
Oh wow.
I've been holding these behind my back all day.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole trip. If we're talking about tofu, this is where it starts, right? Dry soybeans, water, coagulant. So, tell me a little bit about soybeans. Yeah, let's get nerdy about beans.
Yeah, so beans or soybeans originated in China. They were first grown for human consumption, and they're actually quite a hardy crop. That's why you see soybeans grown most of the regional provinces in China. People can grow soybeans. They're very much quite drought resistant. They were really useful in times of famine. People relied on this literally to survive. Yields quite a lot for the little amount of ground, let's say, that you have to work with. And then from the bean, it's quite a nutritious bean. I think it's the only bean that actually contains the full spectrum of amino acids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And primarily though, people are eating this stuff. I feel like nowadays, in the US especially, the crops or the soybean production is mostly used for oil and then for animal feed. Larger kind of monocrop or monoculture agriculture, they are just looking at the oil yield, and they don't care about flavor because you're not really consuming.
I mean, it's a massive industry. There are whole states that grow soybeans in the U.S. And in China, it's Dongbei, where they have these huge flat fields with the very rich black earth there to grow these huge monocrops, these huge fields of soybeans that they're harvesting that are not optimized for flavor.
Here's where it's worth pointing out that soybeans are a huge and varied industry. The soybeans China grows are typically higher in protein and used within China for food, while the American soybeans that China imports are higher in oil and used for oil or animal feed. But these are industrial soybeans with highly controlled genetics, grown at a massive scale to be harvested by machine. American soybeans also tend to be more neutral tasting when they're grown for food, to suit most people's tastes in North America. In Yunnan, with its million microclimates, its higher altitude, and all the genetic diversity, a lot is still different.
So people have lots of different soybeans that are adapted to different situations, but are primarily bred for flavor. They're not bred to be able to be harvested very easily by a mechanical harvester. So Yunnan, one of the reasons Yunnan is a tofu capital in China and is so famous for tofu is because they're still using these very special beans. The root of why tofu is better in Yunnan, if you are going to go with that distinction, is that the beans are better. And the beans are actually bred for flavor as opposed to being bred for industrial agriculture.
Hannah and I went on like this forever. But at some point, Graeme made us wrap it up and reflect a little.
On this episode where we've been shooting the tofu episode in Yunnan, what stood out to you?
I think just how different the tofu varieties are in small towns that are very close to each other. And even just in terms of the shape and the texture and the way they make the tofu, they're very much like focused on one kind of tofu that their town is known for, using the water that they have in their wells, using also just like whether it's the altitude or the sunlight that they get, like sun drying, and just like all of these ways of preserving tofu, and just like preferences, I think, in taste as well. Tofu is also such a universal ingredient in China. You can think of it as like rice or potatoes, like everywhere they're gonna make some.
I think tofu everywhere, from Dongbei all the way in the northeast, all the way to where we are in the very far southwest in Yunnan, and everywhere in between, there's tofu traditions, right?
And then also not just soybean tofu either. There are technically like rice tofus, like chickpea tofu. There's yellow pea tofu in Yunnan, and there are so many forms of using a bean and transforming that, either through, alkaline or through just like cooking the starch slurry, which is essentially what you're doing with like a lot of like pea-based tofus, into a curd. And then once you have this curd, it's so versatile. You can just cut it into cubes, into slices, into slabs, and Chinese cooks are amazing at like taking this very basic ingredient, kind of a blank canvas, and doing like a multitude of cooking treatments.
Yeah. By this point, we had even nerded ourselves out. Who knew a food with just 3 ingredients could be so complicated? But you made it to the end. And if you want more tofu info, you're a bigger nerd than us. Tofu.